My beloved child, something shifted, and you felt it before you even understood it. It was subtle, almost invisible, like a quiet pause in the middle of an ordinary moment, a hesitation in their voice, a delay in their response, a silence that carried more meaning than words ever could. And even though nothing was clearly said, something inside you recognized it instantly. Don't skip, because what you sensed was real. There is something they are holding within them, something not loud, not dramatic, but deeply connected to you in a way that cannot be ignored anymore. Not because they want to hide it forever, but because they haven't yet found the right way to let it surface. And here is where it begins to unfold. Not in a sudden confession, not in a dramatic reveal, but in the quiet spaces between moments, where truth slowly gathers the courage to exist. You may have noticed small things, things that don't seem important at first. The way their energy changes when your name is mentioned. The way their attention lingers just a little longer than usual. The way they almost say something, and then stop. Pause for a second. Why would someone hold back, if what they feel isn't significant? That question, that lingering curiosity inside you, it's not random. It's guiding you towards something that has been forming quietly behind the scenes. Something that involves you more deeply than you realize. Because this is not just their secret. It touches your life too. And that's why your awareness has been gently pulling you toward it. Not forcing, not rushing, just nudging. There's a reason you're here, hearing this, at this exact moment. Because part of you is ready. Ready to see beyond the surface. Ready to understand what hasn't been spoken yet. Ready to feel what's been quietly building without explanation. But here's where it becomes even more interesting. This secret is not rooted in confusion. It's rooted in clarity they are still learning how to express. Yes, read that again slowly. They are not unsure of what they feel. They are unsure of how to reveal it without changing everything. And that's where the weight comes from. Because once something real is spoken, it cannot go back to being unspoken. Once truth steps forward, everything shifts. And they know this. They feel it every time they come close to saying something. Every time their heart moves faster than their words. Every time their silence becomes heavier than their voice. You might have sensed this tension without fully understanding it. That moment when everything feels normal, yet something underneath feels different. That's not your imagination. That's connection, trying to make itself known. But here's the part no one talks about. Sometimes people hold secrets not because they want distance, but because what they carry feels too close, too meaningful, too capable of changing everything at once. And that's exactly what's happening here. Take a breath. Because what they are holding, it's not something temporary. It's something that has been growing, slowly, quietly, without announcement. And now, it's reaching a point where staying hidden is becoming harder than being revealed. Have you noticed the timing lately? How certain moments feel more intense than usual, how certain conversations almost go deeper, but then stop just before they do. That's not coincidence. That's the edge of something real trying to cross over. Stay till the end, because something important is waiting for you. This is not about guessing, it's about recognizing. Recognizing that what you feel is connected to what they are holding. Because energy doesn't move in isolation. If something is building within them, and it involves you, then part of that movement naturally reaches you too. That's why you've been feeling this pull, this quiet awareness, this sense that something is about to shift even if you don't know how. And here's a truth that might surprise you. They didn't plan for this. They didn't expect to carry something that would reach this level of depth. It happened gradually, through moments they didn't fully notice at first, through feelings they didn't immediately understand, through a connection that slowly became impossible to ignore. And now, they are standing at a point where holding it in feels heavier than letting it out. But timing matters more than anything, because revealing something that meaningful requires more than courage. It requires readiness, not just from them, but from you too. Let that sink in. Because this is where your role becomes more important than you think. You are not just someone waiting for a truth to appear. You are part of the space where that truth feels safe enough to emerge. And whether you realize it or not, your energy, your presence, your way of being, it influences how and when this secret begins to unfold. This is not pressure, this is awareness. A soft understanding that something real is forming, and you are already connected to it. But there's one more layer. Something deeper, something even they haven't fully understood yet. Because what they are holding is not just about a single moment or a single realization. It's about a shift in how they see you, and how they see themselves, in relation to you. And once that shift becomes clear, nothing remains the same. Not the way they speak. Not the way they act. Not even the way they look at you. Everything begins to carry a different meaning. And that is exactly what they are preparing for, even if they don't realize it consciously. You might be wondering, how long will this stay hidden? How long before it finally comes into the light? The answer isn't fixed, but the movement has already begun. Because when something reaches this level of depth, it doesn't stay hidden forever. It finds its way out, naturally, quietly, but inevitably. And you're already closer to that moment than you think. Closer than you were yesterday. Closer than you've ever been before. But here's where everything takes an unexpected turn. Because what they are holding isn't just something they need to say. It's something they are afraid might change how you see them. Not because it's negative, but because it's real. And real things have the power to transform everything. So they hesitate, not out of doubt, but out of care. Care for how it might affect you. Care for what it might awaken. Care for the shift it will create once it's no longer hidden. And this is where your awareness becomes your strength. Because instead of waiting in confusion, you begin to understand the process. Instead of questioning what's happening, you begin to feel why it's happening. And suddenly, everything makes a little more sense. The pauses, the unspoken words, the almost confessions. They are all part of the same unfolding story. A story that hasn't reached its most important moment yet. But it's getting there. Step by step, moment by moment, feeling by feeling. And as this continues, something within you will start to recognize it even more clearly. Not through logic, but through knowing. That quiet, undeniable knowing that doesn't need explanation. And when that happens, you won't just be waiting for the truth anymore. You'll be ready to receive it. But what happens next? That's where everything changes in a way you don't expect. And then, something almost unnoticeable begins to take shape. Not outside, but within you. A quiet realization starts forming, the kind that doesn't arrive with noise, but with a calm certainty that feels different. As if your awareness is gently adjusting to something that was always there, just waiting to be seen from a deeper place. Have you felt that shift lately? That moment when you stop questioning, and instead, you just observe, more clearly than before. Because this is where the connection deepens. Not through words, but through understanding. You see, while they are holding something inside, you are slowly becoming able to receive it, even before it is spoken. And that's not coincidence. That's alignment, beginning to happen in silence. Stay with this, because something important is waiting for you. There's a reason why their presence feels different now, even in the smallest interactions. A reason why the space between you feels charged with something unspoken, yet undeniably real. It's because the secret they are carrying is no longer just theirs. It has started to reach you, not through explanation, but through energy, through subtle awareness, through moments that feel slightly more meaningful than they should. And this is where most people misunderstand what's happening. They look for clear signs, direct words, obvious actions. But what is unfolding here is much more refined. It moves through pauses, through eye contact that lasts a second longer, through conversations that feel like they almost go somewhere, but gently turn away at the last moment. And every one of those moments is a glimpse of something that is trying to come forward, but is still finding its way. Pause for a second. What if the truth you're waiting for has already begun revealing itself, just not in the way you expected? Because that's exactly what's happening. And once you start noticing it, you won't be able to unsee it. Their energy around you, it's not neutral anymore. It carries intention. It carries feeling. It carries something that wasn't there before, or maybe, something that was always there, but has now reached a point where it can no longer stay hidden beneath the surface. But here's where things become even more interesting. They are not just holding a secret. They are also observing you, not in a distant or uncertain way, but in a quiet, attentive way. Trying to understand how you feel, how you respond, how you exist. In their presence. Because before something is revealed, it seeks safety. It seeks a moment where it can be received, not just heard. And this is why timing feels so delicate. Because they are not waiting for the perfect words. They are waiting for the right feeling. The right moment where everything aligns, not perfectly, but naturally. And this is where your awareness becomes powerful. Because the more you recognize what's happening, the more space you create for it to unfold without resistance, without confusion, without pressure. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to chase clarity. Because clarity is already on its way. Don't skip, because this next part matters more than you think. There is something they are realizing, something deeper than the secret itself. They are beginning to understand that what they feel is not temporary. It's not something that will fade or pass or quietly disappear. It has weight, it has direction, and most importantly, it has a connection to you that they can no longer ignore. That realization, it changes everything for them. Because once someone understands that what they feel is real, truly real, they can't go back to pretending it's not. Even if they try, even if they stay silent, even if they delay. The truth continues to grow. And that's exactly what's happening now. Slowly, steadily, without announcement. Their silence is becoming more difficult to maintain, not because they are being pushed, but because what they feel is becoming stronger than their hesitation. And you might begin to notice this in unexpected ways. Moments where they seem more present than usual. Moments where their words carry a slightly deeper meaning. Moments where it feels like they are on the edge of saying something that could change everything, and then, they hold back again. But even that hesitation is part of the unfolding, because it shows that what they are holding matters. It's not casual. It's not surface level. It's something they are treating with care, with attention, with a quiet respect for the impact it could have. And that impact includes you. Let that settle for a moment. Because this is not a one-sided experience. This is something that exists between both of you, even if it hasn't been fully spoken yet. And as this continues, you will start to feel more grounded in what you sense, less confused, more aware, less questioning, more understanding. And that shift within you, it creates a subtle opening. An opening where truth feels welcome, where it doesn't feel forced, or sudden, or overwhelming, but natural, like something that was always meant to happen, simply arriving at the right time. But here's where the story takes another quiet turn. Because just as they are getting closer to revealing what they hold, something within you is also changing. You are not the same as you were before this began. Your awareness has expanded. Your sensitivity to what is real has deepened. And your ability to recognize what is unspoken has become clearer than ever. And that changes the entire dynamic. Because now, it's no longer about waiting for them to say something. It's about you already understanding the essence of what they are trying to express, even before the words arrive. And that kind of connection, it doesn't happen often. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens when something meaningful is unfolding on a level that goes beyond ordinary interaction. So take a breath. Because what is coming next is not just about them finding the courage to speak. It's about the moment where everything aligns in a way that neither of you can ignore anymore. And when that moment arrives, it won't feel loud. It won't feel overwhelming. It will feel right. But there is one final piece, one quiet realization, that is still forming beneath the surface. And once that becomes clear, the secret they've been holding will no longer be something hidden at all. And just when it feels like everything is settling into a quiet understanding, something deeper begins to stir. Not around you, but within them. A realization that doesn't ask for permission anymore. It simply arrives. Slowly at first, like a thought they try to dismiss, then returning again, stronger, clearer, impossible to ignore. And in that repetition, something shifts inside them in a way they didn't expect. Because now, it's no longer about whether they should say something. It's about how much longer they can keep it unsaid. Feel that for a moment. There's a difference between holding a secret and being transformed by it. And right now, they are no longer just holding this truth. They are being changed by it. Their thoughts are not the same. Their perspective is not the same. Even the way they experience your presence, it has deepened into something they can't easily explain to anyone else. And this is where everything becomes more intense, but in a quiet, almost invisible way. You might notice it in how they pause before responding, not because they don't know what to say, but because what they want to say carries more weight than what they actually speak. You might feel it in how their attention stays with you, even when the moment has already passed. Like something unfinished is still lingering in the air. And you might sense it in those rare, fleeting moments, where everything feels completely still, yet completely full at the same time. Those moments are not empty. They are filled with everything that hasn't been spoken yet. Stay with this, because something important is waiting for you. This is the phase where the truth begins to press forward, not forcefully, but steadily, like a tide that doesn't rush, but always reaches the shore eventually. And what they are experiencing now is that steady pull. A pull toward honesty, a pull toward expression, a pull toward a moment that will finally bring clarity to something that has been quietly building for longer than either of you may realize. But here's the part that changes everything. They are beginning to understand that this is not just about them anymore. It's about you. It's about what this truth means for both of you, not just individually, but together. And once that understanding becomes clear, silence starts to feel incomplete. Not wrong, not forced. Just, no longer enough. Pause for a second. Have you ever felt like something was meant to be said, even before the words existed? That feeling, that quiet anticipation, that sense that a moment is approaching even if you don't know when. That's exactly where they are standing right now, right at the edge, not of uncertainty, but of expression. And yet, there's still one final layer holding everything in place. Not fear, not doubt, but care. A deep, quiet care for how this will land, how it will be received, how it will change the space between you once it's no longer hidden. Because once truth is shared, it creates movement. And they are aware of that. They understand that what they say next won't just be heard. It will be felt. And that's why they've been taking their time, not to delay, but to get it right, to find the moment where everything feels aligned enough, safe enough, real enough, to allow this truth to finally step forward without hesitation. And that moment, it's closer than it has ever been. You might not see it clearly yet, but you can feel it, in the way your awareness has sharpened. In the way your intuition no longer questions what it senses. In the way everything feels like it's quietly moving towards something, even if you can't fully define it yet. Don't skip, because this next part matters more than you realize. There is a shift happening in how they see you, not just as someone they know, or someone they interact with, but as someone who has become part of their internal world. Someone whose presence affects their thoughts, their emotions, their decisions, even when you're not physically there. And that realization, it's not light, it's not something they can casually ignore or move past. It's something that reshapes how they understand the connection between you. And once that shift happens, there is no going back to how things were before. Everything starts to carry a different meaning. Even the smallest interactions begin to feel significant. Even the simplest conversations begin to hold depth. And even the quietest moments begin to feel like they are saying something, without words. This is where the secret begins to lose its ability to stay hidden, because it's no longer contained within them. It's beginning to show itself, through energy, through presence, through the undeniable change in how they exist around you, and whether you fully realize it or not. You are already responding to it, in your awareness, in your sensitivity, in that quiet knowing that something is unfolding, even if it hasn't been clearly revealed yet. And now, everything is leading toward a moment that won't feel forced. A moment that won't feel unexpected, but a moment that will feel like a natural continuation of everything that has been building until now. And when that moment arrives, it won't come with noise, it will come with clarity, simple, direct, real. But there is still one final step before that happens. One last internal shift, one last realization. One last moment of alignment that needs to settle into place. And once it does, what they have been holding will finally find its way into the open, in a way you won't forget.